Hey, this is Dave LaRue from Flying Colors, and you are listening to Sonic Perspective.
Hey everyone, this is Scott Medina for Sonic Perspectives, and we've got a fantastic interview today. We've got Dave LaRue on the phone, who is just in between gigs because Flying Colors is out on the road. Kind of a rare thing, but we're glad it's happening right now. So welcome to the call, Dave.
Well, thanks very much. Great to be here.
Yeah, let's start off with Flying Colors if we could. The album Third Degree just came out last week, and people have been getting their first full taste of it. What's been your impression of the new album this third time around?
Well, I mean, I'm really proud of the album. I think it came out great. And I think one of the most important things is I think it's the best album we've done. And I'm really always pleased when I see the band continue to grow. So for me, it's a really enjoyable thing. And the response that I've both seen and heard from people has been really great. And the crowds at the live gigs seem to really enjoy the new stuff. So all good so far.
Yeah, what are the qualities that make you feel like the new album is, standing even above the two predecessors?
Well, it's funny, as I prepared for the tour, I had to go back and listen to the older stuff and relearn the songs. So I was really pretty much A-B'ing the three records, because, we're doing a couple tracks from each album. And it just became obvious to me that, the performances, the recording, the lyrics, everything just seemed really a cut above the older stuff, which is a normal thing. But I like that it continues to head in the right direction as opposed to us repeating ourselves or putting out a lackluster product just like, oh, it's time. Okay, we got to do a record. Okay, let's rush through this, whatever, I don't care. But I think the band, as I said, continues to grow. And it became obvious to me as I was playing through the older stuff.
Yeah, you guys took your time with this third one, and I think it shows in a way it's a much more consistent and mature offering, I would say. You've really established the Flying Colors sound now.
Yeah, well said. That's exactly what I thought for a while. I couldn't agree more. So.
Yeah, on the track Guardian, you've got a nice extended solo section toward the latter part of the song. How did that section come about?
That's pretty funny. We were working on the tune, and as we do, we're all together and we're playing through stuff and throwing out ideas and discarding ideas and then putting things together. And we got to that point, and it's like, we need to do something here. And Neil said, this could be a great spot for a bass solo. Dave needs to take this, So it was Neil's idea. It was like, and of course I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I second the motion. So we just developed that, but he was hearing it, and so we developed that whole section. Worked on ideas and got a section for me to play over, and it ended up being a really long section at a really fast tempo. So it wasn't that easy, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm pretty pleased with the results. So yeah, but that's Neil chiming in.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it comes, right after this really nice guitar solo section, I think in 9/8 time or so, and then it just transfers right over to you. It's really cool.
Yeah, and a whole nother mood.
Right.
So it's. Yeah. I think it came out great. So this song.
Right. It's a beautiful track, and it seems like on every album you have at least one piece that's kind of a funk tour de force, and on this one, the song would be Geronimo. Did
Absolutely.
Yeah, did the whole band write that one together?
Yeah, I brought in the initial idea, and then it morphed from there. I mean, the chorus, and all that stuff got added to it, because that's basically how we write. People bring in ideas and concepts for things, but there's a taboo on bringing in a full song. We just won't do it. We've actually run into that, and we said, no, that's a great song. Put it on your solo record. Whatever. Because everybody wants to have a set, a part of it. And we really try to honor the idea of the five of us writing together. But we have to start somewhere. So everybody always brings in, like Casey will bring in some really great hook he's got, and the tune will start from there. And then these guys are so amazing. They're so prolific. Ideas start flying around. And so, like as I said earlier, I mean, we're discarding and adding ideas as quick as guys come up with things. It's an amazing process.
I bet it is. Yeah. On the track Geronimo, who steered that song towards the Steely Dan vibe that it's got?
Well, I mean, I guess the whole initial groove thing is what sets that up, and then later we added the second section, which is really says kind of Steely Dan. Well, in addition to the verses and the groove that sets the tune up, then we have those hits, which I can almost picture as being a horn section playing that.
Totally.
Which is what Steely Dan would do.
Yep.
Yeah, it just kind of morphed into all that. So it's actually hard to remember the process, and think, as I said, things are flying around and we're trying things, and but yeah, the Steely Dan analogy, you're the first one that's made that, and that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, but it's amazing because I was shocked when and in a good way, to hear it suddenly go into latter day Steely Dan, but then it goes into a whole nother direction that's again just signature Flying Colors. It's its own thing.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's different than what we normally do is very Flying Colors in and of itself, because there's five personalities here, and something different always is introduced. So and that's one of the things I love about playing with this band. I'm not good at playing one genre for an hour and a half. I'll go nuts, and then I'll have to be replaced at some point. so I mean, one of the things that attracts me to this band is the fact that we're diverse. It's great because I get to play some things that are just very groove oriented. Like You Are Not Alone or something. Is a challenge to play what's right, what musically helps the song, and not that's not a song for a bass solo. I mean, and so it challenged me to keep it strong, make it groove, and then enhance it when I can. And then there's other things where there's a lot of music, instrumental strength going on it, and that's fun too. Crawl and at Guardian, as you said, so it's really. It keeps me interested, and I know other guys in the band are also of that mindset, so it works well.
Yeah, I can see why this would be a band for you. I was listening to your solo album, Hub City Kid, a little while ago, and again, even right there's so many different styles on that one album, so you can get a sense that you don't like to stand still.
Yeah, and working with the Steve Morse band and the Dregs. I mean, the Steve Morse band is the perfect gig for me, because Steve is, as I said, of that mindset. We'll play, a hard rockin' tune, and then the next thing we'll be doing a Baroque thing, and then the next thing Steve's just blowing over this incredibly fast bluegrass tempo, and then the next tune, a song called Night Meets Light, is just this beautiful color, texture, ballady thing where the time signature isn't the same for more than 2 bars in a row. It's really challenging for me.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that kind of playing.
And you love it, yep. Yeah. And you guys, you, Steve, and Van Remain just got the chance to get back together as the Steve Morse Band to do a short show at Morse Fest.
It was really fun. Well, actually, I wanted to say that was Neil's idea also. I mean, Neil put so much into Morse Fest, and he's just amazing. I mean, his behind-the-scenes stuff is incredible. He's the one that gets all the background singers and the strings prepared to go for both bands, the Neil Morse Band and then Flying Colors. And then all the nitty gritty details, overseeing merch and, how people are flying in and all that stuff. Granted, he has help, but he's the force behind everything. And he really wanted us to play. And he asked Steve again, as we were approaching the deadline. Steve had initially blown it off, and Steve asked me what if we wanted to do it, and I said, of course. And so we did. But it was, Neil really wanted that to happen. He thought it would be special, and it was. So it's always great to play. It's funny, I just played with another one of my bands up in the Northeast. We did a week's worth of dates, and Band was on that gig. So we've kind of gotten to play together a little more recently.
Yeah, you guys have locked back in. Well, I was at that show at Morse Fest, and, the crowd was just going nuts and loving it. It must have felt like a really nice return after, I think it's been, about 7 years since you had played out live?
Well, 7 years since we played with Band, yeah.
Ah, you're right.
We've done a few things in between with Drew Betts, who's my drummer for my band, but not many.
Yeah. Do you think after that, do you think this has inspired you guys to maybe do some future recording or even live shows?
Well, we chatted about that. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm Steve's with Purple and Flying Colors right now. He's out doing dates. So, but yeah, we talked about that after. Actually, Steve and I live close together. So as we were trying to prepare for more stuff, I would go over his place and we'd play together a little bit. And the subject came up, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Did it feel really good for you just getting back to that material again?
Oh, I love that material, of course. Yeah, some of my favorite stuff. As I said, the Steve Morse Band is like the ideal gig for me. And I also like it because it's a trio. So, needless to say, there's a lot of room for me to play.
Sure is. Yeah, exactly. Well, getting back to Flying Colors, you guys are out on the road now. You've got just a handful of dates that's kind of crisscrossing with Steve's Deep Purple touring schedules.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's really unusual that way. And I was curious, is it a challenge for you playing such short tours with Flying Colors? Like, do you feel the band can really hit their stride with so few shows?
It's tough. That's a good question. Yeah, it's definitely tougher because as you play more shows consecutively, it just becomes so much easier, and things get locked in, and you start just doing things instinctively. But when they're spread out, you have to kind of constantly reinforce it and just make sure you're doing what you need to do. So the little things can get lost, the nuanced things that start to happen when the show is just second nature, and it's hard to get to that point when the gigs are so spread out. But the musicians in the band are all really top notch, so we manage. And actually that's what I was doing today. We played the show in New York, and I'm just reviewing for Friday night today. Just make sure I'm up on the stuff and keeping it fresh because we didn't play a show for 2 days. So
right, and then you got Philly coming up, and how did the New York show go?
Oh, it was great. It was packed, and the crowd was great, and it was nice to see that. They really won to the new material too, so it was a fun show.
Yeah, now that the album's out, probably New York was probably the first time you've played a couple more new songs from the new album. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we added a couple tracks. We did 3 at Morse Fest, and I think because the videos had already been released, and we added 2 more. We added The Lost Inside or Lost, whatever it's called. I don't know. I never read the liner notes. And Love Letter. Yeah.
Any hopes of adding even more of them as you get over to Europe or further in the tour?
Well, I don't think we'll add anything to the European dates that we have now. But there's talk of doing more stuff. We'll just have to see how it falls with everybody's schedule. It's always tough with this band.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah. Well, it would be great. It's such a strong album. It'd be great to hear songs like Last Train Home and Geronimo and Cascade and Guardian, on and on.
Well, yeah, Geronimo is next on the list. We were going to try to do that, but Steve and Neil were getting ready to go over and record a new transatlantic album.
Right.
And, yeah, so they just kind of begged off on that. It's like, because we did add Love Letter and Lost, and it's like, that's enough. I mean, come on, I'm getting overwhelmed here. Yeah, but Geronimo's next. We may add that for Chicago. I'm pretty positive we'll do that in Europe. I'm absolutely, well, I can't say 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. And Casey wants to get Last Train Home.
Yeah.
Into the set too, so that may happen as well.
Yeah, that's such a classic Flying Colors song. It'd be great to hear that live too. Yeah, and then of course you guys are on the ship again, the Cruise to the Edge next year as well.
Yep. We finally get to do full shows, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, for listeners who may not know, the Flying Colors has actually performed twice already on the Cruise to the Edge, but neither time has really been announced ahead of time. It's been sort of those surprise
we were
shows.
Surprise guests, and we played for like 45 minutes, and that was it. So it was great. I took my family, and we just had a vacation.
I know. It's just a crime from the audience perspective to have you on the ship and have you play like 3 or 4 songs for a whole week.
Yeah, it was kind of silly. But the first time we went was nice. We actually, there's 2 funny stories. First of all, they were trying to keep this secret, and they hustled us all on the boat and, got us on there. And there was some mess up with my son's passport. So over the loudspeaker, they paged me before. So much for the, hiding out thing. And then, but the good thing was we played the Sail Away concert. So we played for 45 minutes first. Actually, the big surprise, Highway came out, and we kicked the thing off. And then I was done.
Yeah.
I was on vacation. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I was actually on the ship for both of those times, and I remember I was sitting in the dining room, and even in the dining room over the loudspeakers you hear, Mr. Dave LaRue, will you please check in? And
Yeah.
Everyone busts up laughing in the whole dining room. Everyone busts up laughing like, well, I guess that cat's out of the bag now. Mike is probably pissed.
I heard about it from Mike. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, well, that happens. So.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting ready to sail away, and they were like, "We got to have this paperwork on your son." There was a confusion, it's like yada yada. So we got it worked out.
Yeah. So I'm curious, the relationship between the bass player and the drummer, is so key to finding the groove and the feel of each project that you're in. And so with your own sense of musicality, how much do you find yourself coming towards what the drummer is playing, or rather leading the rhythmic charge, or do you meet somewhere in the middle?
Oh, I think we meet somewhere in the middle. Mike is such a great player. He's really strong. And I'm always, trying to do the right thing in terms of how we both play together. But it's fairly easy. And the only time I really dig in and push a little bit is when he has to sing. Although I have to admit, he's probably the best singing drummer I've ever played with. But I do try to just help him out if need be, although, so to keep it strong and make sure, with a lot of singing drummers I play with, like the bottom just falls out and the time starts to sag. It's like, yeah, well, hold on, But, yeah, he's really good. And yeah, we're really simpatico in a lot of ways. It's a very easy gig. I never worry about that with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get along well musically.
Is there a drummer or two that you haven't played with yet that you'd really love to have that opportunity?
Well, I don't know. I'm very fortunate. My career has been great. I play with like all the great guitar players and some really great drummers. Rod Morgenstein, Van. I did Planet X for a while, so I worked with Virgil Donati for 2 years or something. One of my favorite drummers is actually Jeff Campitelli, who I played with in the Joe Satriani band. That guy has the biggest pocket in the world. I mean, it was fun, and that was a little bit of a simpler gig for me in many respects. But it doesn't matter because it just felt so good. The groove was so strong. Jeff's really great at that. So I enjoyed playing with him. I mean, that was not a chops gig where we're all, freaking out, unlike Planet X. That was fun, but there's just so many, and I'm forgetting people, so I apologize for those who I'm leaving out. I'm more kind of thinking of who we've been talking about. So of course they're on my mind, and Mike Portnoy, of course.
Sure.
Mike Mangini, I probably shouldn't mention them in the same breath, but I got to do G3 last year for 5 months with John Petrucci, and Mike Mangini was on that gig. So that's another great drummer I can chalk up. So I can't think of. I mean, there's so many great players. Dennis Chambers, good grief, I could go on and on. But let's just say that I'm really blessed to have been able to play with so many great musicians, many drummers, and as I said, a ton of guitar players. I played with a lot of great guitar players. So I'm really fortunate. So I don't worry about who I haven't played with.
Yeah. Yeah, and does your approach to bass playing change significantly at all depending on the guitarist?
Depending on the music, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I approach some songs differently within Flying Colors. Within the set of Flying Colors, my mindset will change a little bit depending upon the tune. So it's more about that. Doing Joe's gig was one thing, and doing John Petrucci's gig was an entirely different thing. So yeah, I adjust my mindset, but it's really more about what the music requires. Like I said with Joe, when Jeff was playing drums, his music tends to be a little simpler bass-wise, and my role changes. But it was a really fun gig because it was all groove-oriented, so I wasn't bored. I mean, it was all about that.
Yeah.
So it changes. Yeah, it's more about the music than anything. What's the best I can do for the music?
Mm-hmm. You've got a new project out now with your old friend Glenn Alexander. What can you tell us about the new band L.A.X?
Well, it actually, Glenn and I have been we've been playing together for so long. He's one of my best friends in the world, and we wrote all this music together and finally got it all recorded over the course of several years. And so we wanted to release that, and we actually just did a bunch of shows up in New York, the New York area, Northeast. And the band played with us, and it was really fun. And it's a different kind of project for me. We like to call the band sort of a combination of Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Dreads.
Nice.
So there's a little bit more of a bluesy thing, and of course I inject some funk into that too. But there's a lot of chop stuff, a lot of unison lines, and of course a lot of bass solos and that kind of thing. It's really it's a power trio, basically. But a little more leaning towards the blues thing than the prog thing. But it's a really fun project for me, and I think the album turned out great. And Glenn's turned into a great singer. He's always been a great guitar player, but his vocals on the record are really, really good. And I got to sing background on some stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's fun for me. I sing on that. Yeah, I sing on that band, so it's a fun experience. And of course, we write all these crazy parts that we have to sing over. It's like, come on, I don't sing that. This is tricky.
So why haven't the boys in Flying Colors been able to convince you to be a fourth vocal?
We don't need it now. I mean, we write for the three, and that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are all so good. Yeah, and we're happy with that.
All right. Yeah, good. And anything you want to let people know who may not be aware of the Dave LaRue Band?
Well, I mean, that's a band that I have here in Orlando that I work with when I'm off the road. And actually, I mean, it showcases all my compositions. That's all my stuff. That's a little proggier. It's instrumental. Great guitar player named Bobby Coble plays guitar, and great drummer Drew Betts are my local guys, but they'll be on the record with me. I mean, they're really outstanding players. And so we're in the middle of recording that too when I have time. It's just it's tough to get all this stuff done. But we have all the material, and we've started cutting some tracks. So yeah, they can look for another solo record, because there's going to be a lot of other people on the record too. Sometime later this year or next year, early next year.
Oh, fantastic. Boy, you have a lot going on right now.
Yeah, got to stay busy.
Yeah. Well, Dave, thanks so much for talking with us for a bit, and hope the remaining shows, the Philly and Chicago shows, are great with Flying Colors. Anything else you want to mention before we head out?
No, that's it. I just thanks for having me on Sonic Perspectives, and And thanks for the great questions and the good conversation. It was fun and easy.
Oh, well, glad of that, and just always appreciate your playing out live. So I'm really glad you're so busy and so many people are getting to enjoy it now. So, and big congratulations on the new Flying Colors album, because it is fantastic. Really, really great recording.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, take care, my friend.
You too. All the best.
Thanks.
Let's talk again.
Yes, we will. It was great catching up with Dave LaRue, and we hope you enjoyed that interview. We're always publishing more interviews, concert reviews, and album reviews at Sonic Perspectives, as well as the latest news. So please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and also consider subscribing to our YouTube channel to stay in touch that way as well. We're going to close this section now by playing a track off the new Flying Colors album. Let's go with the one we were talking about with the extended bass solo a little later on in the song. This is a fabulous tune called Guardian.